from the Red Room. I'm today going to be giving you my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. First off, let me say I love the movie. This is probably one of the best Marvel movies they've done. This is probably one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. I'm pretty much going back and forth between if this is better than Spider-Man 2 or not. I mean, Spider-Man 2 probably has some great action scenes. It's probably one of the best portrays of Spider-Man, but this movie probably had one of the best portrays of the one and only Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland. I'm probably about to split this up into three different types of categories. I'm gonna give it to you as the casual moviegoer. I'm gonna give it to you as the comic book moviegoer, and I'm gonna give it to you as the critic watching the movie. First up, as a casual moviegoer, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. It set up Spider-Man perfectly into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You would think at like I think 15 or 16 movies in, they would tire, but they have created and crafted this perfect universe almost that pays homage to the comic books while striving to be something new. They had to do what the Amazing Spider-Man 2 tried to do and set up all these side characters and his mythos and everything else in one movie and still put him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But they did a great job of doing it. The action was great. Some of the scenes with just Spider-Man around the city and interacting with people were some of the funniest I've seen in any Spider-Man or Marvel movie. They got the humor down pat, is what you need for a Spider-Man movie, which was something I feel was missing in some of the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies. Spidey has a quick wit and he is cracking jokes the whole movie. But the part that I love the most is that he was a kid. We never got to see him really in high school in any of the movies or really interact with people. Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man took place with him in high school, but you never really got to see him juggle this double life. It's pretty much him getting his origin. And what I loved also about this movie is that they pushed past the origin movie. It was pretty much his origin for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they at this point realized, you know about Uncle Ben, you know about the gunshot, you know about great power comes great responsibility. They knew they didn't have to tell anybody this. At this point, his origin is like Batman and Superman's origin. You don't have to explain it anymore. So it took more about explaining his side characters and his family and his friends, and they introduced so much into it. I loved it. I mean, I had as a casual moviegoer, if I had one problem, it was that I would have loved to have seen more Spider-Man, more of him through the city of New York. It took place more in the side suburbs like Queens and some other place in Brooklyn, but they never really showed him swinging through New York City too much. But they gave him some big, epic action sequences, which I love. I just would love to see him a little bit more in the city. Now I'm gonna give it to you as a comic book fan. I love the fact that they paid homage to everything about Spider-Man from his debut in 1964 all the way up until today. That's 50 years of stuff. Everything from the original comics to some stuff going back to the original movies, to the 90s cartoon, even up to Ultimate Spider-Man comic, as well as the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. One of the best features in this, which I thought was going to take away with it, was his suit. The suit's made by Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, and they did a great job of showing what this suit could do. I look forward to seeing more of it. Him interacting with his onboard AI, which was voiced by Jennifer Connelly, aka Betty Brant from the Ang Lee Hulk movies. They just did a great job of showing what he could do and what the suit could do, but also what his own power was. Taking him out of New York City for a couple of scenes, actually having him in DC, interacting in a different area, that was pretty cool. They introduced a lot of characters that people might have even missed, from the Scorpion to the Prowler to the Tinkerer to the Shocker most people saw. I love the Vulture in this. Marvel actually did a good job of the villain. I mean, you actually see the villain in this movie and you understand his motivation way before you even see Tom Holland in the movie as Spider-Man, which I loved a lot. Michael Keaton nailed it out of the park. Nobody knew what to expect of him as a villain, but him as the Vulture was perfect. And this movie had probably one of the best villains I've seen. If I had to rank them all right now, I'd probably say this is fifth out of all the Marvel movies, right behind either Guardians of the Galaxy or Iron Man 1. It's in my top five. I was just sitting there wondering what was going to happen next, and I can't wait to see how they put him into Infinity War and integrate him for the rest of his movies and the rest of the side characters. They even made mention, if you catch it real quick, of the second Spider-Man, aka Miles Morales. So they even laid the groundwork that he could appear somewhere down the line. I just looked. I loved it. I loved everything about it, and they nailed Spider-Man. This was the Spider-Man we had been waiting for. He was in high school. He had to juggle his life. It was just perfect, pretty much. If I had to give it one negative, it's that there was a huge plot hole to me as a comic book fan that they actually addressed in the movie, but no one else seems to figure out. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, I figured it out as soon as it happened, but they don't address it until later. Everyone nailed their parts, and I look forward to seeing how they build off of this movie and create this Spider-Verse, for lack of a better word, within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Next up, I'm gonna give it to you as a critic. This is where I'm gonna be a little bit nitpicky, but there's not too much I can nitpick on. The acting was great. The characters were great. They developed a lot from Marissa Tomei. She made her own take on Aunt May, to his best friend Ned, who they say is Ned Leeds, aka the Hobgoblin. Don't know if that's going to be something that happens down the line, but it was good to see him in the movie, from Liz Allen to Adrian Toomes to Flash Thompson to Matt Gargan. I could name drop, but they put all these characters in it. And like I said, they did a much better job than Amazing Spider-Man tried to do, where they just, oh, here's this character. If you know this name, they'll be appearing later. No, they built on it, and you want to see how he grows from this with these other characters. Tom Holland was a great Peter Parker. I think this is the definitive Peter Parker right here. He understood the character. He gave a great emotion. There's a scene in there where you're actually feeling for him, and you realize this is a 15-year-old kid, and some of the stuff that he's doing is way out of his league and over his head. But because of what happened in Marvel Civil War, he feels he's ready to take it on. And then he gets like hit down and knocked down, and he shows it like he's not quite where he thinks he should be. So I look forward to seeing him grow as a comic book character. Going back to the comic book fan real quick, one thing about Spider-Man people most get is that when he first became Spider-Man, he became more confident as Spider-Man because he was a geek. But as time went along, Peter Parker became a more confident character and more confident person, whereas Spider-Man became to doubt himself more and more as a superhero in his league with all these other characters. So I look to see how they explore and grow for that, especially with Infinity War coming. Back to the critic. I loved how this movie was also a homage to lots of the 80s movies, especially the John Hughes movies of the 80s, like 16 Candles, Weird Science. There's even a great reference to Ferris Bueller in the movie. It was an actual coming of age tale that they did real well, and I think everyone's going to love the fact, especially for us older people who grew up in the 80s, that this was pretty much just one of those high school movies that just happened to feature a superhero as the main character. I loved it. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's the last one I'm going to try to say. I love it. But if you go see this in the theater, it's definitely worth it. I saw it in IMAX. The sounds, I left out there. I think I'm pretty much a little bit deaf, but it was worth it. I don't know about 3D, but IMAX is definitely worth seeing this movie in. But just for the colors and the sounds, there are some scenes in there where it just made you feel the weight of the situation, and you just got into it. I'm not even sure who directed this, but they did a great job of with that much on their plate to put it all in the movie. Again, if I was going to critique any one thing, I think I've already said it. It's just that I wish I could have seen a little bit more Spider-Man. I mean, they had a lot of great moments of him in the suit, but I would just see a lot more of him through New York City. Maybe seeing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man kind of spoiled me with that, with the way they had him web slinging through the city. But I see in the next few movies they'll probably grow on that. Who knows what might happen in the Venom movie, but we'll see from there. There's also two end credit scenes. One you need to stay for. The second you don't have to stay for, but it's really funny. I'm not going to tell you which one happens, but definitely stay to the end of the movie if you are a fan of these end credit scenes. And that's pretty much it. At this point, I'm going to have to give Spider-Man a definite buy. So when this comes on Blu-ray, I will be getting it. It's a definite in-theater opening weekend movie. It was pretty much perfect, and I look forward to seeing where they go with the series from here on out. So take your butts. Go see Spider-Man. Don't be like me and have to buy toys for it as well. But definitely check it out. Have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.